There is a belief in many African homes that when something enters your house, it does not come alone. It comes with intentions. Some come with blessings, others come with spirits that wait patiently. This is the story of Clara and Chris and the wedding gift that followed them into their marriage. On their wedding day, they had a loud celebration. The drums shook the ground and the women danced until sweat soaked their wrappers. Men sprayed money like rain. It was like another dirty December. People smiled, people laughed, and they hugged. But behind some smiles, there were eyes that were filled with envy and hearts that were full of jealousy. When the gifts were brought forward, no one noticed the small brown box that was placed quietly in the corner. It had no ribbon, it had no card, and there was no name. It waited. A week later, after their wedding, filled with excitement, Clara clapped like a child as she and Chris unboxed some of the gifts that they got. Let's see what they gave us. They laughed and they teased each other. Then Chris picked up the small brown box. This one is looking very strange, he said. Clara felt something tighten in her chest, and then they decided to open it. And when they did, the room went cold. Inside the box lay a broken mirror. It was cracked from top to bottom, like something had tried to crawl out of it. Then it dropped. It was a voodoo doll. Its eyes were sewn shut, its mouth was ripped open, and there were pins dotted on its chest like wound. The silence screamed. Clara began to shake and cry. Chris, I feel like it's looking at me. Chris wrapped the box up immediately. That night, neither of them slept. At exactly 2:13 a.m., Clara woke up gasping. She had had a terrible dream where she was standing in front of the broken mirror. Her reflection smiling back at her, but it wasn't her smile. The reflection whispered, "This marriage will bury you." She screamed out loud and Chris woke up sweating. He also told her that he had dreamt of someone standing between them on their bed. The person was faceless and breathing hard. That morning, they ran to their pastor. As their pastor prayed loudly over the object, he poured anointing oil on it and he read some scriptures. "Burn it," he commanded. "When you get home, set fire on it and burn it. Nothing will happen to you." When the couple went home, they set fire on the voodoo doll and the broken mirror, and as the fire rose, the mirror cracked again loudly. Clara saw that she heard a cry. At first, the doll refused to burn. It only blackened, but didn't turn to ash. It was only when the pastor came around and he screamed prayers that the doll finally collapsed and it burned. That day, they slept relieved, believing that it was all over. But they were wrong. For 3 years, they fought silent wars. The attacks didn't come with thunder. They came slowly and quietly. At first, Chris started losing jobs. Deals were collapsing without an explanation. Money would enter and they would not know how it disappeared. Clara's business was doing so terrible that she had to close it down. At night, when they slept, Clara felt hands pressing on her stomach. The doctor said nothing was wrong with them, but every night she dreamt of a woman sitting on her and laughing hysterically. Their home became very heavy. They would argue over the list of things. Sometimes Clara would look at Chris and feel like he was far away even when he was seated next to her. At times, Chris would tell Clara that he heard footsteps in the night, but when he checked, there would be nothing. One night, during a fight, Clara screamed, "This marriage is cursed." Immediately she said those words, the lights went off and the room smelled like smoke. The mirror in their room cracked by itself. Clara collapsed. For 3 days she could not speak. It was during this period that one of their friends suggested a prayer house to them. They went there and they fasted and fasted until they fainted. They traveled to different places seeking for solution. They prayed, but nothing worked. Each prayer felt blocked, like something was standing between them and heaven. Until one evening, their car had broken down on a lonely road. Out of nowhere, an old woman had appeared, staring at Clara, and she said, "My daughter, spare me some money. I am going somewhere and my transportation is not enough." At first, Clara wanted to ignore, but she reached into her bag and she gave the woman a 1,000 naira note. As the woman turned to leave after thanking her and her husband, she said, "You burnt the body, but the spirit remains." On hearing those words, Clara trembled. The woman continued, "That gift entered your house and claimed a seat." She told them to go back to their house, and she gave them an address to come and see her later on that week. There was no church prayers needed. There was no shouting. This one only required the truth. On the day that they went to the old woman's house, at midnight, she took them to a forest. The forest felt alive. The leaves whispered, and the birds were crying. The woman mixed herbs and different potions. She made Clara stand barefoot, and she told Chris to kneel. As the woman prayed, Clara screamed. She vomited a black liquid at some point. Chris was seeing shadows as well moving around them. At exactly 3:17 a.m., Clara collapsed, and the woman whispered, "It has left. The battle has been won." On returning back to their home, peace returned slowly. Slowly, they started to laugh again. 6 months later, Clara conceived, and she kept this a secret until the baby was born. When the baby was born, they saw the old woman again mysteriously one last time. She smiled and she said to them, "Guard your home. Be careful who you share your good news with. Be careful the people you allow to come around you. Not every smiling face is a friendly face. Protect your home." And with those words, she vanished. The moral of this story is to tell you that not all wedding gifts come with love. Some will come with jealousy. Some will come with curses. As a couple, you must pray over every gift you are given on your wedding day before opening it. Sometimes it's even best that you leave the gift sitting for days, or you give it to your parent or your pastor to pray over them before you open them. May we not be victims of our ignorance. If you loved this video, don't forget to like, comment, share, and I will see you in the next one.